there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dark pass away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground, rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds, whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside, a treacherous reality in the pines.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't mask their cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise. All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground, rumors fly and they can't be
Winter reveals the hidden lie. Moonlight could mask their cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise.
all the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground, rumors fly and they can't be bound.
I'll get it together here in a second, y'all. Welcome to the channel, everybody. How is everyone? Well, if you've not been here before, you have been missing out, and we are sure glad that you're here now. This is Hillbilly Crime, and my name is Elizabeth. Sweet Tater's not with us on these nights that it's so late. She usually joins us on earlier nights. And so how is everybody? We've already got a ton of people in here tonight. It's wonderful. We had a basketball game, and my child played great the last half of his last ball game. He did great. I got it on video too, so I'll be posting it on my Facebook. All right. Delta Dawn, Mountain Dew Queen. Hello. Crystal, as always. Thank you for being here. She is one of our very loyal mods. Her and Marnie both. Couldn't do this without them. Smicky Mouse. Dave Clifton. Teton Climber. No, I'm not married. Well, oh, thank you. I might be. Gotta think about that one. Let's see. Laureen Tipton. Hello, hello, hello. All right, so you see the title. Timeline, recap, and discussion. We're going to look at, I haven't gotten the videos in the chronological order. I have them all, I have it all laid out, so I know which video goes where. I just haven't got them put in yet where we can watch them. But I do have, give me my phone now. Oh, my phone. My phone. I do have my timeline. And I also pulled up the hearing. You know, a whole lot of us, one of the things that I caught immediately in the video that they just released of the questioning of Mickey Stines out in the hallway. And the more I watch that video, the more I just catch things. And you know, it's always easy to Monday morning quarterback, you know, real life that's fluid and happening in the moment. It's happening really fast. But these are the things that, you know, cause problems when you have situations, crimes. This was a crime scene. That courthouse was a crime scene. And I don't feel like they really treated it that way. You had all of the EMTs lined up in the back of that hallway there where they had Mickey. I'm still convinced that there's more video that will be dropped probably pretty soon. I'd say the news network that got this last piece probably got this other one too. I'm just guessing though, and they drop them, you know, spread out for views and stuff. But the video of the hearing of Mickey's preliminary hearing, where they brought the video in and that detective got up on the stand to testify. And we heard it sparked my memory watching that. Didn't he say that he wasn't there? So we're going to watch that. We're going to watch his testimony again and see exactly what it was that he said. Because that just, you know, I could be remembering it wrong, but several of you guys said that you remembered it the same way that I did. So we're going to watch and see exactly what he said. You know, that's pretty important. It's pretty important. And I watch a whole lot of trials. I'm a trial junkie. I'm a trial watcher. And that's what we do on this channel during the day, is we watch trials. And I have to say that one thing that most of these trials have in common are how unprepared the witnesses are when they come in to testify. And I mean, like, people, prosecution witnesses, law enforcement witnesses, you know, detectives, people that worked on those cases. That when lawyers get up there and start asking them questions, I just don't feel like they're very prepared. So many of them are like, I don't recall. I don't recall. You'd think that they were on trial as much as what they don't recall. Now, not all of them, but some of them. And I don't feel like they, well, it depends on who the witness is, of course, whether it is a member of law enforcement that worked on the case, whether it is a medical examiner or a coroner. Each person is going to be different. But when they testify, oftentimes I'm just surprised that they don't remember things, that they didn't review their notes, that they didn't review a video or something that they had at their disposal, but so let's watch him and see. We'll do that first. Let's see. I don't know when he gets up on the stand. We'll
Yes, Your Honor.
watch and see.
Is the defendant surrender?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, call your first witness.
Oh, plain stand.
All right, so Mr. Neighbor, if you would raise your right hand for me. You swear affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you. You may be seated.
You state your name for the record, please.
Clayton Stamper,
And how do you spell your name?
ClaytonStamper.
Tell the court how you're employed.
I'm sorry.
How are you employed?
I'm a detective with the Kentucky State Police assigned to Post 13 Hazard.
How long have you been employed in that capacity?
I've been with KSP a little over 24 years, detective since 2006.
One thing though that I noticed in that last video that we watched, he did not know Mickey the same way that the other two state police officers, the troopers, that they knew Mickey. They said that they had known him since they were 14 years old. So, and this guy says it in the video. He says it straight to Mickey. He says, I know that you don't know me. I know that I don't know you like these other two fellas know you. So this guy here was not as familiar with Mickey as the other two troopers were. So that makes me wonder, because he said he was with the KSP all these years. I wonder exactly how many years he's been at Hazard Post and if he's been there the whole time.
And have you, in the performance of your duties as detective police, have you investigated the death of Kevin Mullins?
Yes, sir, I did.
And can you tell us on what date that was?
It was September 19th, 2024.
In investigation of that death, were you able to determine who killed Kevin Mullins?
Yes.
And how were you able to do that?
Video surveillance footage.
And did you retrieve the video surveillance footage?
I did.
At this time, we'll do move to play video footage.
All right.
They only play that
Your
one.
Honor, object, approach.
Yes, approach the bench.
Just as a matter of course, usually.
And this is a sidebar. It shouldn't even be heard. They finally turned off his mic, or the judge's mic. Yeesh. You see how many state cops are back there in the back? Here, let me stop it real quick and look. You've got, let's see. You've got the judge's family on the left. You've got Mickey's family on the right. And then you've got 1, 2, 3 police or state troopers back there in the back. I can't tell who they are, though, from this far away. Hit that like button for us, you guys. It helps the channel out a whole lot. We don't want to have to pause the video until, or or make it to where nobody can comment except for subscribers. I don't want to do that kind of stuff. Hit that like button. It's free. It's easy. It's real shocking. Well, it was then. We've seen it enough now to where it's not so shocking. But when we watched this live, my jaw hit the floor.
You ready to proceed?
Go through
All right, what was that?
Thank you, baby. Same thing. State police are state troopers. They're same thing. If they're not detectives or some, captain, whatever. I don't think they was worried about him being unruly. I think they were there as a show of force. Think about it. He's a judge.
Take it as a portion of the video.
Yes, it is.
He might as well been a cop. Really. This is just a very unusual case.
And you were able to identify the party that we saw in that video,
That was Sheriff Mickey Stines and Judge Kevin Mullins.
and also who had the firearm.
Sheriff Stines.
And then Judge was also in his black robe.
Yes,
Do you know what portion of the courthouse that is?
that is the judge's chambers
And where's that located at, physically located?
in the Letcher County Courthouse.
It's all having on.
Like cross-examine witness?
Would you?
That was a short clip that was played there. How long do you believe that clip was?
That we just watched,
Yes, sir.
just 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
15 seconds. In fact, the video that was taken in the judge's chambers between the meeting between Sheriff Stines and Judge Mullins, it's my understanding that video lasted much longer, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And have you had an opportunity to review the video
I have.
of the prior incident?
I have.
And can you describe for us what happened immediately prior to the clip that we saw?
Sheriff Stines uses his telephone to make some phone calls. He then borrows Judge Mullins' cell phone and appears to make a call on that. And that led to what you just saw.
Okay, so it's my understanding there were some people who were having a meeting with Judge Mullins prior to the sheriff's entry into the chambers. Is that correct?
Yes.
Have you identified those witnesses?
I don't know the names of them. There's about approximately 4 people in there. Then Sheriff Stines enters the judge's chambers and everybody else clears out.
You don't know their names?
Not right off, no.
Have you prepared a report?
In the process, yes.
You're in the process of preparing a report,
Yes, a lot of information.
but you've not spoken to any of those witnesses?
I'm not directly, but they've all been interviewed. There's recorded interviews of those people in the case.
Okay, so other officers have spoken with those 4 witnesses?
Yes.
And what is your understanding of what those 4 witnesses have said?
I don't recall.
You have no idea what they said?
No.
There, I want to make sure I understand, had there been a hearing previously this day in chambers?
In the courtroom,
No, in chambers.
not that I'm aware of.
And so there's a video camera that is running in the district judge's chambers. Is that on all the time?
It's my understanding, yes.
And have you spoken with anyone about why that may be?
No, I mean, there's cameras throughout the courthouse.
Well, fair enough, but
Now, this is hitting me completely different than the way that it hit me when we first watched it. Now that we're on the backside of this, if you think about the reason why that camera, from what we have all been, I don't know if it's really what we've been told or what we've all understood it to be, is that camera was placed in Judge Mullins's chambers after the deputy, Ben Fields, his bailiff, pled guilty to essaying those 3 women. Or, well, he only pled guilty to essaying 1, but there are 3 who are represented in the civil suit. So the criminal case, he only was charged with, well, he was charged with 2. One of them OD'd and passed away, which was very convenient. And I don't believe in coincidences, by the way. But so he only ended up being sentenced. He was charged with 2 at the beginning, but when the one OD'd and died, she was no longer a victim in the case, so they had to dismiss the charges against him for her. So he only was sentenced and took a plea on charges for 1 of his victims. Okay. Now, I don't think that 3 is all that it happened to. I also don't believe that Ben Fields was the only one that was taking advantage of these women that were going through this court system, going through this entire courthouse, because everybody that was on house arrest was not just in Judge Mullins's courtroom. They were also in drug court. They were also upstairs in the circuit courtroom. So it was basically all women that went through that courthouse were fair game to him, or at least that's what it seems like anyway. So let's see, where was I going with that? Let's see, let's finish, let him finish what he was saying, and I'll remember the rest of what I was going to say.
are you familiar with district judges' chambers normally, how they're set up?
The video.
No, I mean, some of them have video surveillance and some don't.
Right, but
This one does.
generally when they have surveillance, you'd agree with me that that is utilized when there is a proceeding going on in chambers, correct?
It could be, yes.
Okay. And I mean, I'm just asking, so this video didn't have an audio recording to it, correct?
There's no audio.
Outside of once the 4 people that were inside that we don't know their names, once these 4 people had left the chambers, were they in an area adjacent where they could hear anything that was going on?
Yes, I believe some of them did remain in the next room.
Okay, and what did they tell us?
Do I?
What did they hear?
I've not been I wasn't part of those interviews.
Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, you're prepared for a preliminary hearing on a murder, and there are witnesses in an adjacent
I
room.
mean, they heard
Now,
gunshots.
please, my question, please.
Yeah, please ask the questions.
Thank you, officer. So you are investigating a murder and testifying in a preliminary hearing, and there are witnesses who may have overheard what preceded this edited clip. Yet you can't tell us today anything that they said?
I've not personally listened to those interviews. I've talked to the other officers that did those interviews.
Fair enough. And I mean, we're here at a preliminary hearing, as you know, that you can testify to hearsay. I'm asking you what they said.
They heard gunshots.
Okay. Was there any statements that they overheard?
No,
Were there raised voices?
one person stated that she didn't recognize him as being Judge Mullins' voice, but heard somebody say, "Help, help."
Presumably that would be after the firearm was drawn or shot.
Objection, Your Honor.
I would draw, Judge. Okay, so is there any testimony that you can give us today about any statements or arguments or the content of that argument prior to the shooting?
No.
Now, remember, we were talking about the video. I don't think that Mickey's lawyer had seen this video yet. I don't think his lawyer had seen any of this footage yet. The only people that had seen this were the state police and the prosecution. And I was talking about the video camera in the judge's office. So that camera was put up in his chambers after the deputy pled guilty, because he pled guilty to doing the essay in the judge's chambers. He admitted to doing it in the chambers. He admitted to doing it in the bathroom, and he also admitted to doing it in the elevator with these women, which is just absolutely sickening. He also admitted to sleeping with his wife, where they were both working at the jail. They were not together at the time. She was married to someone else, and they started hooking up at work. And after they would both get off work, they would go upstairs to the bathroom, and they would do it in the bathroom before they went home, before she went home to her husband and he went home. Well, they ended up marrying each other later. But my questions are, all of these things were known. Why was there no investigation into that jail? He also admitted to drinking on the job. He worked in the jail for the 10 years that Mickey worked as Judge Mullins' bailiff. So all of these people knew each other, and they knew each other very, very well. Even though Mickey's lawyer has come out and said that Mickey and the judge were not friends. They were not friends in the sense that we think of friends. I think that the way that it has been framed is that they had a working relationship, a working friendship, but that they weren't necessarily friends. So that plays a part in it too. But if any of these things had been investigated, we wouldn't be here right now. We would not be here right now. If they had not just taken this plea bargain from Ben Fields and then, okay, we're going to take this guilty plea and we're not going to investigate nobody else. We're not, even though there were accusations, even though there was statements from people saying that others were doing it. There's a video of another person doing bad stuff. I've seen it myself, and it's absolutely someone who, Sabrina Adkins, one of the victim that Ben did plead guilty for, it is absolutely someone who she would have seen, because she wasn't from Letcher County. She was from Pike County. So she did not know these players in the court system here, not as well as somebody who would be from this area. So to her, absolutely, this person would be a higher up. Absolutely, they would be. And it seems to me like this detective is not wanting to allow the reason for why that camera was in the judge's chambers. And Mickey's lawyer, he knows, because good lawyers, or well, lawyers, period, they know not to ask a question that they don't already know the answer to. So he already knows the answers to these questions that he's asking.
I want to ask generally, so did you process the scene? Are you the lead investigator on this case?
I am.
Okay, so as a lead investigator, I would presume that you would have secured the chambers and evidence once you arrived.
I was part of that, yes.
You were part of it, right? But you're the lead investigator, so you'd be in charge of those duties and delegating what should be done. Is that
No.
fair?
No, I don't delegate what's done.
Okay, so you're the lead investigator. What does that mean?
I'm the case officer.
Okay, so you're carrying the case. So I want to make sure I understand, had Judge Mullins been removed from chambers when you arrived?
No,
Were you able to ascertain, did he have a firearm on his person?
we did not locate one.
You did not locate one?
No, there's not one in the chambers.
Okay. And there was none on his person?
No.
All right, who was the first person to arrive on behalf of law enforcement to investigate?
They were already in the courthouse.
Fair enough, but I'm talking about in terms of people that we may see a report from or take part in this investigation. Who would be the first person? that we could-
I believe Trooper Jason Bates was the first KSP personnel on scene.
And you spoke with,
So did I hear that right? Did he ask him who was the first people there on the scene to investigate this? And he said they were already there. So was he talking about our law enforcement? Who else would he be talking about? Who else would be doing that? Our people can't do that. They're too close. There's no way. Is that what he just said? See, 12. We're just going to go back a little bit.
report from or take part in this investigation.
No, there's not one in the chambers.
Okay. And there was none on his person?
No.
Okay. All right. Who was the first person to arrive on behalf of law enforcement to investigate?
They were already in the courthouse.
Fair enough, but I'm talking about in terms of people that we may see a report from or take part in this investigation. Who would be the first person? that we could-
I believe Trooper Jason Bates was the first KSP personnel on scene.
And you spoke with him and he searched and did not locate a firearm?
No, he didn't search the scene. No,
His
role at that point was security of the scene.
I understand, but I'm just trying to ascertain, you said earlier that there was no firearm found. I'm
No,
wanting that to know, can you tell us, was it specifically searched for a firearm?
in the judge's chambers,
Yes, sir.
there was myself, Detective Chris Collins, Detective Scott Caldwell, Detective Eric Caldwell. That's all I recall right now.
Okay, but I'm trying to understand, so who searched specifically for a firearm?
We all did.
And that was specifically something you looked for?
Yes.
Fair enough, okay. Of course, your investigation, did you ascertain that prior in the day, there had been a lunch meeting between Sheriff Stines and Judge Mullins?
There was.
Pardon?
There was.
Sorry, I couldn't hear your response. I wasn't being trite. So where did this take place?
It's a restaurant called Street Side, and it's just down the street from the courthouse.
Okay. And it's my understanding there were a couple of other people who attended the luncheon.
There were several, yes.
Okay. And at some point after that, they wrapped up lunch and left, obviously, and went back to the courthouse. Are you aware of anything so far in your investigation that would tell us there was any issues at lunch between Judge
No,
Mullins and Sheriff Stines?
no,
But someone on behalf of the KSB has spoken to those witnesses?
yes, they've all been interviewed.
And there was nothing unusual that had arisen during that luncheon?
I was told that the judge made a statement to Mickey about, do we need to meet private in my chambers? That's all I was told.
Do you know the context of
I do not.
what the conversation was before that they would need to discuss in chambers?
I do not.
So it's my understanding that in the larger portion of the video that we haven't had access to, that there is a point when Sheriff Stines asked for to see the telephone of Judge Mullins.
Yes,
Is that a yes? I mean,
yes,
yes, okay. And I would presume that you and the other officers you mentioned when you secured the scene, that you secured those phones as well. Is that correct?
yes.
And have you reviewed both of those phones?
They're currently at the forensic lab at this time being downloaded. I have had discussions with the people at the lab regarding the downloads.
And those are a couple of other questions that I was going to ask you, but my original question was, have you reviewed or are you aware of the content of the phones?
I've not personally seen it because I've not received those reports yet.
Okay, again, based upon your conversations with the officers, are you aware of any recent content that was up and could have been relevant at the time of their discussion?
I was told that Sheriff Stines had tried to call his daughter, and he had tried to call his daughter from the judge's phone also.
So have you obtained the phone records from Judge Mullins's phone?
I don't have those in my possession yet. No.
Okay, have you issued a search warrant for them?
Yes,
Okay, and have officers confirmed that the sheriff's daughter's phone number was on Judge Mullins's phone?
yes.
Okay,
So,
so
yes,
that number had been called from Judge Mullins's phone, is
Yes.
that correct?
yes.
For this guy to be a KSP and lead detective for 24 years, he really seems very uncomfortable testifying in this case. At least he does to me.
So we don't have a viewing of what transpired during that exchange of phones. But based upon your review of those moments prior to, when Sheriff Stines observes that cell phone, was he previously seated?
Yes,
Okay, so in the clip we saw, he was standing the entire time.
he was seated in front of the judge's desk.
And he looks at the cell phone. What is it? Can you describe his reaction in the video that we haven't seen?
Whose reaction?
Well, the sheriff.
You can't see his face in the video.
Okay. But is it clear that, does it appear to you that, let me rephrase this. Did he stand up after
Yes,
looking at the phone?
he stood up.
And how long after he looked at the cell phone and stood up did this occur that you played?
Just seconds.
Did you make the decision as on edits today for what you were going to present?
Do
In
what?
terms of, did you make the edit or determine
No,
which portion of the video we want to see today?
no, sir, I did not.
Okay. Both cell phones have been sent to the Kentucky State Police Forensic
Yes,
Team, is that correct?
yes.
Have you gotten any early report on what was found?
No,
Were both phones still on the desk when you arrived?
the judge's phone was on the desk. Sheriff Stein's phone was on his person.
Okay, so are there photographs of, was the phone locked at that point? Or was it still open?
With both of you asking about both of them?
Well, first, let's talk about, that's fair. First, I'm talking about Judge Mullins, since it was the one that was still on the desk and presumably nobody touched it prior to you securing it, correct?
No,
So, yeah, so I would like to know about that. Have you ascertained what was currently open on that cell phone?
no, I don't know at this point.
You don't know.
No,
Okay, do you think that will be important to learn?
I hope to learn that when the report's ready, yes.
Okay. But as of today, you can't tell us
No.
what was currently open on the judge's file.
No, sir.
Did you conduct an interview with Sheriff Stein's daughter?
I did not, but she has been interviewed.
Are you aware of who was present when she was interviewed?
Lieutenant Randy Combs and Detective Anthony Trotter,
Okay, and she was interviewed with or without her parent?
with,
So her parent was present at the time you interviewed her?
yes, I believe.
And let me just say something else too here, guys. Anthony Trotter, we all, if you live here, you know who Anthony Trotter is. He's kind of like a kickboxing guy. He used to teach classes down at the rec center, and stuff like that. But my point is, he knew Mickey and he knew the judge for probably just as much time. I'm wondering if that wasn't Trotter in that video that had the body cam, the one that was questioning Mickey in the hallway. I wonder if that wasn't Trotter, because we saw him in the other video downstairs in front of the dash cam of the police car when they were bringing in the Sally Port, when they were bringing Mickey around and putting him in the car. We saw Anthony Trotter down there in that video. So I'm wondering if that wasn't Trotter and Bates, then both that were in the hallway questioning him. And which, of course, but if that's the case, I was thinking that this guy, where he was the lead detective, that he would be doing, but I guess it makes sense. The people under him would actually be the ones taking these statements. But the fact that all of these people have known each other since they were 14 years old, they've known Mickey and they've known Kevin just as long, probably. That just seems awful close, doesn't it? Doesn't that seem like way too much conflict of interest? And this guy, he doesn't know Mickey and them. Like these other officers, they didn't just know Mickey this length of time. They're all from the same area. So they also know Mickey's wife and Mickey's daughter. They know them too. Same length of time. They've probably known his daughter since she was born. That's an awful big conflict. And for them to be so close to be doing this investigation. And you see, this guy doesn't really want to answer the questions. Not it just seems like he's holding back a whole lot on how he's answering these questions.
If I wasn't there, but yes, I think so.
The law enforcement has not spoken to her without the parent present.
Not that I'm aware of.
Did the Kentucky State Police obtain her phone?
No,
Why not?
You intend to obtain records for her cell phone number?
possibly, yes.
Do you believe that that will be
Possibly.
soon that you'll do that?
I love him, man.
Could be, yes.
Had you already intended to do that, or did you just respond to my question?
Well, the call should be on the judge's records too.
Well, I understand.
And she's made statements about what occurred during those conversations.
I understand that, but I would presume that, have you ascertained whether Judge Mullins also had apps that stand outside all phone records?
You don't just take witnesses' words for this stuff. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it was Mother Teresa herself. You can't do that. Not for an investigation. Are you kidding me?
I've not received those records yet. I don't know what's on the phone.
Fair enough, but I mean, did you look at the phone? Did it appear there were apps on it?
I'm not the person that's qualified to look through the phone.
Okay, but you're familiar with cell phones. They can host other forms of communication.
Hold on,
Yes, sir.
what's the
He's
objection?
been asked the answer, Your Honor. He's asked a question, I think about 4 or 5 different ways. The officers, the detective repeatedly said he does not have a report with phones. He's not good at the phone. He can't testify that matter.
I just
Let
want
him ask the question, and well, you can only testify what he has personal knowledge about.
absolutely, yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor. So you're aware that phones can be used for apps such as Facebook.
Yes,
Okay. And that is not something that is captured by cell phone records. You would agree with me?
I agree.
So in light of that, although the records may be mutually the same, right, you know, the same between Judge Mullins's phone and the sheriff's daughter, do you believe that you could also ascertain other information from the cell phone app content?
Are you asking what apps are on the phone?
Yes. Well, that was my original question.
I
but
don't know
thought you did know.
without, I've not received that report yet. I don't know what apps he had downloaded on the phone.
If he has social media apps, do you intend to?
That could lead to additional search warrants, yes.
If you would, officer, please let me finish before you move forward, and I'll try to slow down a little bit as well, okay?
Sure.
Thank you, Trooper. Have you determined whether there were any previous issues, personal or professional, between Sheriff Stines and Judge Mullins?
I've heard things.
What have you heard?
Just that, this regarding the lawsuit that the Letcher County Sheriff's Office is currently involved with.
The lawsuit that involved ultimately a criminal conviction of a deputy for sexual behavior in the judge's chambers. Is that the one you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay, and the subject matter of that lawsuit, the chambers area, that's the same chambers in which this occurred, is that correct?
I'm not familiar with the details of that case that the lawsuit resulted from.
Okay. Are you aware of any criminal reports that Sheriff Stines had made of Judge Mullins prior to this day?
No.
Did you personally observe Sheriff Stines following this video?
Did I personally observe him?
Did you meet with him? Did you talk to him after?
He was in custody when I arrived at the courthouse that afternoon.
And at some point, did you draw any observation about his demeanor?
He was mostly calm, I thought. I mean, I talked to him, but he didn't say nothing about why this had happened, but he was, calm. He was, kind of afraid that, basically all I said was, treat me fair. That's basically the comments he made.
All right, guys, I have to stop that and say I was wrong. I remembered it wrong. What I remembered him saying that he or who he didn't talk to were the witnesses. That's who he was talking about at the beginning of this. Bartley asks him if he spoke to the 4 witnesses that were in Judge's chambers before Mickey told him to get out. And he said that he hadn't. So I remembered that wrong. I was wrong, y'all.
Okay. Did he also make a statement about, I don't see it in the citation here, but somewhere along the line I saw a statement being attributed to him about protecting his family?
I wasn't present, but when he was taken into custody, I was told by one of the other officers that were there that he made the comment, they're trying to kidnap my wife and kid.
And we haven't heard that yet, guys. I think that's going to be in the video that hasn't been released yet. Because we see him go back inside the courthouse from the front steps. So they handcuffed him.
Now, have you ascertained any evidence that this shooting was pre-planned?
No.
Okay.
Not this time.
And would you agree that from what we've seen so far, from the evidence you've seen so far, the shooting was a reaction to what was on that cell phone in that moment? Is that accurate?
Objection, Your Honor. Also speculation outside of his scope of expertise.
Your Honor, I believe that if he has formed an opinion about the investigation up to this point, especially at a preliminary hearing, he could speculate on that, Judge.
Well, just a
Sure. So, is there anything other than the content of the phone that this video will reveal to us about why this took place?
No.
Does it appear that this took place as a reaction to what was happening in the chambers at that point?
I can say it occurred after a phone call was made. I don't know what was said or nothing like that, but
Fair enough. And I'm not asking you the content of any of that, but at this point, is it your theory that whatever that content was in the discussion was the impetus of the shooting?
it could be, but I don't know that for a fact.
Okay. Do you have any evidence up until this point that you have developed that would demonstrate that it was not as a reaction to what was on the phone?
No,
None whatsoever?
no.
Okay.
So what he just asked him there, just for anybody that missed that, he said, do you have any evidence that shows that the pew-pew was a direct reaction to what Mickey saw on his phone, on the judge's phone? And he said, no. He said, do you have any or have you found any evidence that would show it was not a direct reaction to what Mickey saw on the phone? And he said, no. So, but they've already gotten all of the discovery back by now. Okay. They already have had the deadline. It's come out and said that the discovery is complete. So Mickey's attorney, now Bartley, he has everything that the prosecution has. Everything that they've turned over everything, or at least they say they have. So now Bartley is saying, and he probably had a whole lot of it long time ago, whenever they started sending it over. But Bartley has come out in a couple of interviews and articles and stated that the Pew Pew didn't have it. It wasn't a response to what was on the phone. And we saw that ourselves in that video. We see him talk to his aunt. He finally, and Gavin, shout out to Gavin Fish, our favorite true crimer. He blew up those images. He blew up this video. And if you missed that, you need to go look at Gavin's video. The one that we did last week. Or he did it and I came on with him. But he blew up the video and we were able to see what was on Mickey's screen. And we saw it. You can see him connect with his aunt. He speaks to his aunt on FaceTime, and that very briefly. And then you see his phone pull up what looks to be his daughter's contact information. It shows like what it looks like is her picture on the top and then her information, which, it's kind of blurry and stuff, so you can't see any detail like written information or anything, but we could see the faces. And so Bartley has said now, this preliminary hearing was right after it happened. This was like in October, the end of September, beginning of October. And so now his lawyer's coming out and saying it wasn't anything that he saw on the phone. So that's a big, important piece.
Just if I have just one moment to confer with the council.
And I like Mickey's attorney. These Bartleys, I give them 2 thumbs up. They're going to be superstars.
Did you attempt to speak to Sheriff Stines at the Leslie County Jail after the incident?
No,
Did anyone from your agency attempt to interview him?
not to my knowledge, no.
And at that point, had he asserted his right to an attorney or anything?
No.
Holy crap. So he just asked him, let's go. Let me hear that again.
And at that point, had he asserted, did you attempt to speak to Sheriff Stines at the Leslie County Jail after the incident?
No.
Did anyone from your agency attempt to interview him?
Not to my knowledge, no.
And at that point, had he asserted his right to an attorney or anything?
No.
But nobody
So
went back to try to talk to him or do an interview?
No.
So all of that questioning out in the hallway, nobody had read him his Fifth Amendment rights. in the hot when they were questioning him. Now I realize in his question here, he's saying once they got to the Leslie County Jail. So once they've taken him from the courthouse and driven that hour, and they got to the new jail, the jail where they were going to hold him, I asked the same questions. Why didn't they interview him? But my number one question is, why didn't they take him to a hospital? If I would have been anywhere involved in that, that would have been my very, very first, that was my very first thought when we got down there. Did they take him to a hospital to get a talk screen? That was my number one question. Why didn't they take him to a hospital? He was obviously, something was off. I mean, something was off. I don't know what it was. But even if he was faking it, just playing devil's advocate, as Fish would say, even if he was faking it, if they would have taken him to a hospital and gotten a talk screen, blood work, the full workup, it wouldn't just prove the presence of, but it also proves the absence of. You know what I mean? So at least you would have tests, records to say he didn't have anything in his system. There was no drugs. There was no alcohol. There was no anything in his system. But he did have some elevated levels of this, or whatever. You know, I'm no doctor, so I don't know. But if he would have been going through some kind of a medical episode, whatever it might have been, or it could have been, you wouldn't know, because they didn't take him to a hospital and have any tests done. I think that's just so awful.
Yeah. I think I have one other question. In addition to cell phones that we've discussed, the cell phone of Sheriff Stines and the cell phone that you found of Judge Mullins, were there additional phones that you were able to obtain?
There was one other phone that's currently being examined, and the basic reason it was seized was there was a text conversation between Sheriff Stines and some of his employees with the sheriff's office.
Multiple.
Okay, and that was an additional phone of Sheriff Stines.
It was a phone of, I guess she's the, I don't know what her title is, but she's employed. She's not sworn. She's employed by the Letcher County Sheriff's Office. And she voluntarily gave her phone to the person.
But didn't he just say that there were text conversations, plural, for members, plural, members, plural? And they only took her phone because she voluntarily gave it? I'm telling you, after this happened, they didn't serve any search warrants at the judge's house for the rest of his, or at least I don't think they did. I don't think that they served a search warrant for any of his electronics other than his phone. And I don't think that they served one at Mickey's. They've just said that they did not get any records for his daughter's phone. They didn't take anybody else's phone, from what it sounds like, other than the little girl that, or she's not a little girl, but the woman who works in Mickey's office. It's the bowling woman, from what we found out. And the only reason they got hers is because she voluntarily gave it to him. I mean, I cannot believe that they are investigating this case. They're just too close.
Person that interviewed her
Okay, and just out of curiosity, what, could you explain why that was relevant or germane to your investigation?
I didn't conduct that interview, but it was, I guess it was regarding the dinner at Street Side and things that led up to the shooting. But I don't have those results either, so I don't know exactly what was said.
He looks scared to death, doesn't he?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought when we discussed that earlier, that you indicated there was no evidence that the conversations at the lunch.
I haven't seen those conversations yet. I've not received downloads from the phone.
Right, but I asked you if you're aware of any information that could have been gleaned from witnesses at that meeting. And as I recall, you said no, but there is some information that something was discussed at this lunch. Is that correct?
I don't know what was discussed at lunch.
I understand, but you obtained this lady that we don't know her name. You obtained her phone in an effort or based on a belief that she would be able to demonstrate what was said at lunch. So you would agree with me, you believe that there is a witness or information that may have popped up at lunch.
There's a recorded interview with her in the case, and I'm yet to receive the downloads of the phone, so I don't know what they contain.
Okay, well,
Okay.
has that phone been sent to for
It is.
forensic examination as well?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Also, that's all I have. Thank you.
Just a few questions. Is Judge Mullins, you sent to medical examiner's office from autopsy.
He was.
Have you received that report yet?
No.
Have you had an informal conversation with him regarding his cause of death?
Yes.
And what was that?
Multiple gunshot wounds.
The video we showed earlier, that a true and accurate copy, clear copy of what you received?
Yes.
Hopefully, introduce comes as exhibit 1, Your Honor. Any objection?
Your Honor, I'd ask, of course, all we saw today was the clip, but I asked it to be admitted in its entirety, and I'm going to respond to that.
Good job. I don't think preliminary here is required for its probable cause. This establishes probable cause. I think the entire clip is outside the purview of the these proceedings today.
I think if you're gonna want to see the whole video, you should check earlier. I'll admit. It was short earlier. That was quick. We got this shut it.
Hey, Detective, this is an ongoing investigation.
Yes, it is.
And as this ongoing investigation proceeds, you will be interviewing more people if necessary, submitting more evidence to the lab.
Yes.
That's all I have.
Recross. All right, any other witnesses for the Commonwealth?
No further.
All right, you may speak. Any witnesses for the defendant? I'll find probable cause and find this case over the grand jury. Anything else before we turn forward?
Yeah, you're sure. There's no, we're not allowed to sum up, Judge, what.
If you want to make an argument, sure.
But it sounds like I may change your mind, Judge.
There's a probable cause hearing, so, but yes,
I understand.
take your best shot.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, so, murder under our statute, as the court knows, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but if there is an issue as to extreme emotional disturbance, then there has to be some evidence that would rebut that. And specifically, when I asked the witness today if there was any evidence to rebut that this occurred as a direct result in the moment of this observation, I don't have none at this point. And I get it's just probable cause, but I think they've established probable cause for manslaughter first, but not murder. Because I've heard nothing that indicates that this is not, an example of an extreme emotional disturbance relative to the phone. At any rate, Judge, respectfully, I understand the court's previous ruling, but I did want to address that with you.
That's fine.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm gonna respond.
Thank you, Your Honor. Extreme emotional disturbance is a defense. There's not been a defense presented here at this court today. The evidence presented in this court today is that the judge was intentionally shot and killed, shot multiple times by the sheriff, and there's probable cause to find the grand jury murder charge.
Yeah, I agree. There's probably cost to proceed.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else before we adjourn for today?
Your Honor, in terms of, we'd like to discuss, if we could, lodging from here where he's transported. Is it the court's intention to have him take, and I don't want to discuss that potentially publicly, Your Honor.
I'm not sure I can make that, help you on that.
Sure. So,
I mean, we could, you're welcome to staff report and discuss that, but I'm not sure I can tell with.
sure. So the transport order that was entered that will direct Sheriff Stines to go back to where he came from, Judge. Is that
Let's
fair?
let's adjourn forward and we'll talk about that.
Yes, sir.
I don't know that I can change where he's gonna be at.
I was sure. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we can discuss it. All right.
Thanks, sir.
All right, court's adjourned.
Yes, sir.
Right. So that was all of that one. No, Bug, this was the preliminary hearing that happened like back in October, right, or at the end of September. It was right after the pew happened. But we wanted to go back and listen to what the detective testified to. And I was wrong. So I was remembering wrong. I thought that he said that he hadn't spoke to any of them. And then when we watched that, or that he hadn't spoke to Mickey. And then when we watched that video, we saw that he did speak to him. Well, that's not what he said. They asked him about the 4 witnesses. Now, who are the 4 people? Who are the 4 witnesses? We already know. We know that one of them is the preacher man. We know that one of them is the woman that was sitting in the window that works in Judge Mullins's courtroom. And then, or at least I think that that's who that woman was. And then there was the other rehab guy. And then the blonde-haired lady who I still haven't figured out who she is. So those are the 4 people that have given recorded statements. We will get our hands on those eventually. Whenever, unless they sealed them for some reason or something, but I don't see that happening. We probably won't get them until after the trial. I don't know. I don't know anything about the documents and records and stuff like that. That is not in my wheelhouse, y'all. So that hearing that they had, it wasn't really, all the prosecutors had to do was show that few seconds to show that he was the one who did it. Doesn't matter why. Motive didn't matter in this hearing. All they had, it was just a probable cause hearing to hold it over to the grand jury at that time. So they really didn't have to give any real information other than that. That gave them probable cause. But it also sounds like Mickey has confided in his attorney, which I'm so glad to see. Hopefully his attorney will represent him very well. He has so far. Kathy, maybe he had drinks at lunch and was even more upset. Well, I have been told that alcohol plays a very, very big role in that social scene down there. You see all those people hanging out in the judge's chambers. They're hanging out across the hallway in the smoking room. I mean, heck, that was the place to be, was in Judge Mullins's chambers. You know, that was where they hung out at. And we also have to remember when Ben Fields pled guilty, when he pled guilty, the investigation stopped in its tracks. They didn't look at anybody else. His attorney asked in that hearing if they were aware of any kind of complaint that Mickey had tried to put in against Mullins. That was interesting. We haven't heard that yet. But that case with Edison Banks, who used to be the prosecutor here, when Edison Banks brought in that home health aide into his home, he moved her in, he moved his family out, and moved this little 23-year-old in. And she ends up hightailing it all over Letcher County, Pike County. Who knows where else she was traveling and trafficking in his vehicle, in the prosecutor's official Commonwealth attorney tags. Pretty white tags that says official on the top. She gets pulled over by the state police. Oh, of all things, of all people, of all agencies. She gets pulled over by the state police. State police lets her go. Ain't that very interesting? Let me see if I can pull it up real fast. Just stop sharing that. Let me see if I can find it. All right, here it is. Let's read it for you guys. Now, this was going on right before all of this, okay? This is the prosecutor. He's dead now. He died right after the pew pew happened down there in Whitesburg, which is also very coincidental, ain't it? Let me get that off of there. And this was April 26th of 2023. All right. So this was about a year and a half before the pew pew happened. But it's also like right after what happened with Ben Fields. And I think Ben didn't even start. I don't think Ben even served his sentence until the beginning of 2024. So all of this stuff fits in this timeline, you guys. A 22-year-old Crafts Collie woman is facing multiple counts of possession. This is the Mountain Eagle, by the way. Nurse pulled over in SUV of prosecutor is charged. But those charges didn't go nowhere. Multiple counts of possession and one count of trafficking in methamphetamine after a police officer recognized her as someone with a warrant against her. So whoever that cop was, I wonder if he got in a lot of trouble for pulling her over. But what it says here is that he knew who she was, and he knew that she had a warrant for her arrest. So when he saw her, he pulled her over. The woman, Taylor Pratt, was a certified nurse aide working for Commonwealth's attorney, Edison Banks, and was riding in a car belonging to him when she was arrested. And remember, she was 22 years old. Okay? Now, I realize that is I realize that that is an adult. It's over age. But come on, y'all. He was in his 70s. He was in his 70s, wasn't he? And if he wasn't in his 70s, he was damn near close. And was riding in a car belonging to him when she was arrested. Banks, who suffered a heart attack last year, said he was told by his doctor that he would not be allowed to go home unless he had 24 hours, had 24-hour CNA. He hired Pratt on the recommendation of a friend. Of course he did. And then rehired her when his mother became ill. He said she had lost her home in the flood. So that was in 2022 when the flood happened. And she had her own room in his home. Who, ding, 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 who I've had several sources reach out to me and say that their child, or both of them was the parents of a boy who had been doing really, really good, was in recovery. One of them said that her son had been in recovery for 5 years, was doing really good. Said one night, this little blonde-headed Pratt comes and picks him up and takes him to her house. Well, he sure didn't know he was going in Edison Banks's house. She allegedly had a whole bunch of rugs. She ended up getting the boy to relapse with her that night. And his mommy told me that the next day or recently after that, they popped a big drug test on him and he went back to jail. Does that sound like a setup to you? What's that sound like to you? Somebody been doing real good, and then this girl comes around flirting with them and pulls out a bunch of rugs, tempting them, gets them to relapse, and then the next thing you know, they're pulled in for a rug test and they go back to jail? Is that coincidental? I don't know. Kind of sounds it to me. Banks said she took care of their medications, drove him to work, and helped him into the office every day before going back to care for his mother. The bad part is, apparently, she's a bad addict. But I never picked up on it, Banks said. Really? You ever been around somebody who's all geeked out on math? You can spot it a mile away. You can spot it a mile away. You can't hide math use. You just can't. I don't care who you are or how functional of an addict you are. You cannot hide math use. Especially from people who know what addicts and somebody using acts like. He was a freaking prosecuting attorney and had been for decades. He's been around plenty of people, plenty of users. He knows exactly, or knew. You can't tell me that man didn't know what somebody on rugs acts like and looks like. And then turning her loose in his vehicle all the time to transport all them rugs. I can't believe there wasn't a search warrant done at his home. But you see who takes care of these investigations. The bad part is, apparently she's a bad addict, but I never picked up on it, Banks said. If I had known she had a problem, I certainly would have worked to get her help. Yeah, even though you guys are sending everybody and their mother to rehab. but you didn't do nothing for this girl. Just give her money, enable her, give her your vehicle, let her transport rugs all over the dang county in a official vehicle. Yeah. Okay. According to the citation filed when Pratt was arrested, Deputy Sheriff Jason Adams recognized Pratt when she got in the passenger side of the SUV at Whitesburg Plaza Shopping Center. I know who Jason Adams is, and Jason Adams is the one who he's no longer works for. Was that a sheriff's? Does that say sheriff's department? Deputy Sheriff Jason Adams. So he was working for Mickey when that happened. I thought it was a state police. Holy smokes, y'all. That changes everything about this case. For me, it does. Holy Toledo. And Edison Banks was not dead when he shot Judge Mullins. Wow, wow, wow. I can't believe I missed that. It must have been the other time that she got arrested or that she got pulled over, because she got pulled over twice. It must have been the other time she got pulled over that it was the state police. I thought it was the state police both times. Now, I've heard that Jason Adams is no longer a member of law enforcement as of late, as of recently. I'm not sure about that. I haven't confirmed that yet. But I've been told he's no longer a member of law enforcement. But he was working for Whitesburg City here recently. But that's what they do. All of these people, they just move from the sheriff's department to the Whitesburg Police Department, to the Jenkins Police Department, to the Neon Police Department. Some of them go on to the state police, and then they don't never come back, of course. And then they might venture back to the sheriff's department. Who knows? Some will go to Elkhorn, some will go to Hazard, some will go Pikeville. But the fact that he was a sheriff's deputy under Mickey Stines when he pulled her over in Edison's vehicle changes everything for me. He recognized Pratt when she got in the passenger side of the SUV at Whitesburg Plaza Shopping Center and knew there was a warrant out for her. He followed the vehicle onto US 119 North and pulled it over near Fairview Drive. Adams wrote that he arrested Pratt and found a small black drawstring bag lying on her seat that contained 3 plastic tubes filled with Mary Jane, after which he searched further in the vehicle. According to the citation, he found a backpack containing 3 pipes, a set of scales, and multiple straws, and a glass vial containing a crystal-like residue. Adams wrote that the side panel of the center console appeared to have been out of place. This is his vehicle, you guys. So if she had a stash compartment in the prosecutor's Tahoe, and how many do you know would have pulled her over before they called Mickey? He said he saw her in the Walmart parking lot. I know, I can picture all this in my head. I know where Walmart's at. He's followed her out onto 119 to the highway. You think he didn't call Mickey and say, "Hey, Mickey, I see this girl and she's got a warrant, but she's driving Edison's vehicle. What do I do?" Don't you think? I sure don't know one that would pull her over without clearing it with their supervisor first or their boss first, just to make sure that there wouldn't be no waves. And if he went ahead and pulled her over, what's that tell you guys? Tells me that Mickey's probably said, yeah, pull her over. If she's got a warrant, she's got to deal with it. Now, they probably didn't know she had rugs on her. He was pulling her up. He was taking her on the warrant. Wow. And I've said it before, because we're going to find out in this other article. Mickey was the only one that was trying to push this case. Everybody else was hands off. And they apparently got to the special prosecutor who was assigned out of Bell County, several counties away. Bell County's like an hour and a half away from here. It's on the other side of Harlan County from here. So that prosecutor over there is not going to know the players over here very well. So why would they be afraid to prosecute it? Why would that woman prosecutor over in Bell County be afraid to prosecute it? Or why wouldn't she prosecute it? Maybe she was told not to. Maybe she was told, leave it alone. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. I'm just guessing, but still. How many cases like that do you know don't get prosecuted when they've got the evidence? Because I don't know many. If it was me, they'd work their butts off to put me under the jail, not try to not prosecute me. And she had a sheriff whose deputy was the arresting officer calling her office saying, I want this prosecuted. Why aren't you prosecuting this case? Why aren't you bringing this case to court? And she wouldn't even take his calls. She would not even take Mickey's calls. Now, this was in 2023. Adams wrote that the side panel of the center console appeared to have been out of place, and when he removed it and looked inside, he found a magnetic box with 2 small baggies containing approximately 5 grams of suspected methamphetamine, a baggie containing a brown powder believed to be the big H word that unalives everybody, and a bundle of paper strips, approximately an inch long, each that looked like miniature $5 bills. What do you think that was, y'all? According to the citation, the strips are suspected of being LSD. I mean, this chick had it all. She had it all. Now, do you see why I say I think this is a big Smex trafficking ring? And I don't think it's just Smex trafficking ring. I think this is a criminal enterprise. I think this has been a organized crime scheme, racket. It's racketeering. How is it not? How is it not? But remember, we've got an attorney general's office who has a whole Smex trafficking task force. The task force has never even been, they didn't even put them on Ben Fields's stuff because they didn't want to. They don't want to find it. If they start digging, they might just uncover that ring that we talking about. And then what kind of egg are they going to have on their face? Uh-oh, we appointed these people. Uh-oh, we've donated a lot of money to their campaigns. Uh-oh, we've given them pardons. Shame, for shame, for shame, buddy, for shame. It says he also found plastic bags containing an unknown substance. 2 big plastic bags containing multiple small baggies, probably for sales, a Smith & Wesson revolver. So she even had the prosecutor's own weapon, traveling with all these rugs. She's out with God almighty. She's out with a big revolver and a Brico Arms semi-automatic pistol. You think this ain't entitlement? You think that doesn't scream entitlement? Why is he giving her his guns? Why is he giving her his pew-pews? Did he not know that she had his weapons in his Tahoe driving through town? And what would be his justification for giving them to her? Because she needed to protect all those rugs she was carrying in his vehicle. Somebody might rob her while she's driving the prosecutor's Tahoe with official tags. Like, shouldn't that have been a weapons charge with all them rugs? Where's the charges? Where's the indictment? Because it sounds to me like this little boy did his job. It sounds to me like this little boy actually did his job. And I'd have to give Mickey probably the pat on the back for telling him to do his job, if he did, which I'm just assuming that he's made that phone call before he pulled her over. But I don't know how many wouldn't have done that. I can't believe it. Banks said the Smith & Wesson was inherited from his aunt, and police returned it to him. No questions asked. Here you go. Here you go, prosecutor. Here you go, DA. Here's your guns back. Pratt was taken to the Letcher County Jail. She was released on a $10,000 unsecured bond, so I'm assuming that was probably just her signature, on the condition that she attended 90 days of a rug rehabilitation. Oh, and I bet she went to ARC, or she probably didn't go at all. Oh, no. I think that I heard she was transferred. They moved her around to all different kinds of places. Yeah, I'd like to see them records. Let's see this one. Delay in criminal case. So this was September 6th, 2023. So this was right after the one we just read. Same nurse. The handling, delay in criminal case against live-in nurse's aide questioned. The handling of a court case involving a live-in certified nurse's aide who was arrested while driving a vehicle owned by the Letcher County Commonwealth's attorney is drawing questions from lawyers and others in the county. Cases have now come to light that show she had been arrested at least once before on a rug charge and pulled over and ticketed 2 days before the latest rug arrest for speeding and careless driving, also while in Banks's Tahoe. Oh, yeah, this is the one I remember. This is where the state police let her go. Yeah, they just let her go. They wrote her a ticket and let her go, even after they saw all the hypodermics all over the vehicle. Yeah, okay. Careless driving also while in Banks's Tahoe. Commonwealth's attorney Edison Banks stepped aside in the rug case, and the Kentucky Attorney General. So the same people who did Ben's investigation, same bunch, has apparently appointed a special prosecutor from Bell County. A lot of good she did. But so far, there's been no indictment and seemingly no movement in the case. Banks has been ill for more than 3 years and has rarely been in his office or in court during that time. He recently finished a stay in a nursing home while making $130,000 a year. He's still pulling in that check every 2 weeks. Laid up in the nursing home. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Finished a stay in a nursing home for physical rehabilitation. His office referred calls to his home or cell phone, but he could not be reached at either number. So he just ghosted. Pay me my money, but I ain't going to show up or answer the phone. The main case being questioned involves Taylor Pratt, 23, a CNA who had been living in Banks's home as a caregiver. If we got caregivers like this, we're in trouble, y'all. We're in serious trouble. Letcher County Deputy Sheriff Jason Adams arrested her during a traffic stop on April 19th and charged her with possession of Mary Jane, possession of rug paraphernalia, first-degree trafficking in a controlled substance, first offense, 2 grams of meth or more, first-degree possession of a controlled substance, first offense, the big H word, first-degree possession of a controlled substance, first offense, LSD, and first-degree possession of a controlled substance, first offense, rug unspecified. But it came out that when the test came back, it was the big F word that's unaliving everybody. So this chick had the H word, she had the F word, she had acid, you might as well say, and a pew-pew, Mary Jane, and math. She was loaded down, you all. Loaded freaking down. And how she got out of this when you're sending all these other people to jail, what makes her so special that she can't go to jail? But yet you can put all these other girls in jail. Their lives don't matter. This just infuriates me, and we've read it 100 times, you guys, but it don't do no good. None of these people are ever investigating any of this stuff. They just have their picks. Have their picks. It's all who you know. It ain't what you know or what you do, obviously. You can do anything you want as long as you got the right friends in the right places. She was released on an unsecured $10,000 bond on conditions that she not violate any state, federal, or local laws, make all court appearances, and enroll in and complete 90 days of inpatient rehab. Banks said at the time that she had been recommended by a friend. Well, who was that friend? I'd like to know who that friend was, because with friends like that, who needs enemies? Or you knew exactly what you were hiring. Don't, you ain't fooling me, dirty old man. You knew exactly what you were doing and who you were hiring. Oh, yeah. Yes, you did. Oh, yes, you did. You dirty little old man. Banks said so he could come home from a nursing home following a heart attack, and he was unaware that she had a rug problem. None of the attorneys who were concerned about the case would comment publicly about the case. Yeah, I know. But questioned privately why nothing was happening. Letcher County Sheriff Mickey Stines, whose deputy made the arrest, said his office has not had anything to do with the delay and is ready to proceed. There's no favoritism, no special treatment. We'll indict her just like we do any one of the hundreds we've arrested for rugs, Stines said. You guys think this don't have nothing to do with it? And I'm talking about just the temperature between them all. You think Stines was really liked that much if he was trying to have the prosecutor's side piece, Sugar Baby, indicted? I just cannot believe that all of them down there, all of them were willing to allow this to just go away. As serious as what these charges are. He said his office is waiting for a prosecutor to be appointed. He and others said they have been told it's been referred to the Bell County Commonwealth's attorney, but there's no entry of appearance for her in the court file. She wouldn't even file an entry of appearance. Bell County Commonwealth's attorney Lisa Fugit did not respond to a message left with her secretary. But while that case was reported in April, there were 2 more cases that were not discovered at that time. Oh, I bet they were. Who went looking for them? I doubt anybody did. But if you don't go looking for them, then you can say you didn't know about them. One was a traffic ticket issued by Kentucky State Police 2 days before the Rugg arrest, charging Pratt with driving 26 miles over the speed limit and careless driving. The citation, which was not previously seen, accuses her of driving 90 miles per hour in a 55 miles per hour zone on US 23 in Banks's silver SUV. So she was driving the prosecutor's vehicle in those instances as well. Here we go. On US 23 in Banks's silver US SUV. Trooper Brandon Watts, so this is where the state cop got her, wrote that after stopping the accused, she was asked to exit the vehicle. A hypodermic syringe fell from her lap as she exited. There were hypodermic syringes in the door and in the console. I also located glass pipes, scales, torch lighters, and more syringes in a backpack. The accused also had Narcan. So in case she OD'd, she could give herself a Narcan. And he didn't arrest her. No, the state police did not arrest her. At least Mickey's deputy did. She was not arrested or cited for any rugs or rug paraphernalia offenses. So I wonder who he called. Wouldn't he have had to call somebody too? Or do you think that he did that of his own free will? And then they wrote a newspaper article exposing him for not writing a citation or arresting her. What about arresting her? Unbelievable. While those are the only cases in Letcher County, a statewide search shows she was arrested a year earlier in Pike County for driving under the influence, and she was charged with first-degree possession of a controlled substance, hydrocodone. Pikeville Police Department officer Jay Lawson wrote that he warned her on the roadside, and as he was taking her into the jail, that if she had anything illegal on her person, she would be charged for it. While being searched at the jail, a green leafy substance was located on her person. She identified it as Mary Jane and said, F, the F word. That ain't nothing. They quoted her. Fudge, that ain't nothing. Do you think that if she's talking like that at the jail, that she didn't talk like that in front of Edison too? I think Edison knew a whole lot more than what he pretended not to. She was charged with first-degree promoting contraband as a result. You think these cops didn't call Edison himself? Or somebody called Edison and told him about this? It's your vehicle, dude. It's your vehicle that you're letting her traffic rugs all over the dang eastern Kentucky region. This cartel that supposedly Judge Keith Hall spoke of, yeah, I see it. Do you? She was charged with first-degree promoting contraband as a result. After court documents were returned undelivered twice, delaying the case, she filed a change of address with the court, but then failed to appear on April 18th, 2023, one day before her arrest at Ermine. So that was you're joking. So she had a bench warrant. That was a bench warrant for a failure to appear. When you don't show up to court, that's what they issue, is a bench warrant. And you usually do not get out of jail until you go back in front of that judge. You don't get a bond. That's always been my experience. They don't give you a bond until you see the judge. How was this chick just able to sign her name and walk out with a $10,000 unsecured bond? That's what that means, ain't it? Unsecured. So all she had to do was sign her name. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. She attended pretrial in June in Pike County, and on July 20th attended court by Zoom. Well, that might have been a different time. No, it wasn't, because then she failed to appear on April 18th, one day before her arrest at Ermine. She attended pretrial in June in Pike County, and on July 20th attended court by Zoom. This time, Pike Circuit Judge Howard Keith Hall noted that she was in treatment and that the treatment facility had moved her 4 times and is now moving her further away. Judge Hall wrote that ARC, the rehab center, was to bring her to the next scheduled hearing on September 28th and that she was to appear in person. Her current location was unconfirmed at press time. So do you think that ARC wasn't hiding her on purpose? How many of you guys know, have had somebody go to rehab at ARC and be transferred all over the dang state where nobody even knew where they were at? BS, 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 BS. We're putting all this together. Her case file in the Letcher Circuit Clerk's office shows she completed 110 days of home incarceration under Ben Fields. In the April 19th, 2023 case, her attorney, Daniel Dotson, withdrew from the case August 22nd. That must have been when they realized that nothing was going to happen. They ended up filing a joint motion to have it just dismissed. And I think that's what happened. Well, there you go, guys. There's you a little bit. I'm burning up. There is you a little bit more of context into what was going on in Letcher County, down in Whitesburg, right before all of this was happening. Let me pull up this timeline. Let's see. I'm just going to read through it real fast since we've been on here so long. All right. So the chronological order of the timeline of that day: in the morning, early afternoon, pre-pew-pew interactions. Exact time unspecified. Lounge area footage in the morning. Event surveillance footage from the Letcher County Courthouse lounge area shows Judge Kevin Mullins, Sheriff Mickey Stines, and others interacting cordially. This group reportedly includes individuals who later joined them for lunch. Details: the footage captures a relaxed atmosphere with Mullins and Stines chatting with others, suggesting no overt tension at this point. This aligns with reports that the two were friends. Well, that's something else. Let's see. I might just wait to do this, guys, when I have the videos put together. I'll read the bold print. So from 12 noon to 1, lunch at Streetside. 1 to 2, Stein's food box deliveries. 2:30 to 2:55, Stines returns to the courthouse and enters the chambers. 2:55 to 3 p.m., the pew-pew of Judge Mullins. 3 p.m. to 3:05, Stines exits the chambers and surrenders. 3:05 to 3:15, questioning in the courthouse hallway. 3:15 to 3:30, escort to the Sallyport and the cruiser transport. 4 p.m., the evening aftermath and community response. And that's just what I've got in bold. And we'll just leave that one there, and I'll do a better one next time. We kind of got a little distracted off the title tonight. Sorry, you guys. Well, Patty, or Pretty Sweet Pea. Sorry, getting late. Thank you for spending your time with us, Elizabeth. You're appreciated. We appreciate you, honey. Thank you so much for being here. Well, guys, y'all go to bed. We'll see you in the morning. Come be with us in the morning. We're going to do Karen Reed trial. We've been watching it. Tomorrow will be day 16. It's really getting good. Testimony's getting good. We also have another trial that is coming up. We're going to be watching the Crystal Rogers case. The Houck guy and his two co-defendants. That trial is in like 2 weeks. So I'm not really sure how I hope Karen Reed will be over by then. I really, really hope Karen Reed will be over by then. But if not, we'll just have to do them both somehow. But we'll have to put Karen Reed on the back burner because we cannot miss Crystal Rogers' case. We'll do one in the morning and then one at night if we have to, or I'll do them, record them, and then put them up. But we cannot miss that case. So that's exciting. That's coming up. Miss Cindy RN, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you, thank you. Bless you. She gave us another super chat tonight. Bless you. We can use all the supers that we can get, you all. We've also got any of the apps that you need, Cash App, Venmo, any of those if you want to help support the channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you can't financially support the channel, just watching, just being here. We appreciate you. That matters most of all. So thank you. All right, y'all. We got school in the morning, so I got to go to bed. You have a good night. Lord Jesus, we thank you so much for letting us come one more night. And in your name, Lord, that we get together and we all get to just be friends. You know, that we've all met so many wonderful friends in this platform, and we're grateful for the community that you've helped us to build. The platform that you've given us to build this community, Lord, we're so grateful for it. People's spirits are being lifted, and we see your hand in so many people's lives. We see your hand in this channel. I'm so thankful, Lord. I'm so thankful for the path that you've put my feet on. And I just lift your name up. I lift your name up. I give you all glory and praise, Lord, in everything in my life. I thank you, Lord, for dying on the cross for me. I thank you for loving me. I thank you for just taking me under your wing, Lord, and holding me tight. I love you, Jesus. I thank you for your presence in my life. I thank you for my health. I thank you for helping me quit vaping. I thank you for everything that you do for me, Lord. I'm grateful for the roof over my head. I'm grateful for the shoes on my feet, the food that we eat, just all of it, Lord. Everything's a blessing. Waking up every morning is a blessing. None of us are promised tomorrow. We've all endured losses, and we're going to continue to endure them. And I just pray that you help us to get through. You always, your word says that you will take us through the storm to the other side. And I just pray that you give us the peace and the strength to be able to trust in you and trust in your word. And we just love you, Lord. I thank you. I ask that you'll forgive me for my sins. Continue to put a watch over my mouth. Help me to not say things that I don't need to say, and help me to give me the words to say and communicate appropriately. I love you, Jesus, and I give you all praise, honor, and glory in Jesus' name. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, y'all. Sleep tight. Don't let them bed bugs bite. Bye. Peace out, Girl Scout.
You can't hide from hillbilly crime.
You can't hide from hillbilly crime.
You can't hide from hillbilly crime.
You may not know that there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dark pass away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds. Whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside. A treacherous reality in the pines.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't mask the cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise.